Hello, everyone, and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to talk about Unit 6, decimals and percentages. First, let's take 6.1, place value and rounding. Um, we know that the whole unit is here, yes. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's go down to with the questions. Sorry. Yes, yes. Okay, so question 1, write these numbers in order from smallest to largest. These questions are easy, so let's do them very fast. Order them from smallest to largest. So this one is the first one, which is the smallest, which is 12, first one. And then we have 23, and then 31, and then 123, and then 231, and 321. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Even decimals, now round each number to the nearest whole number. Now, nearest whole number means what? It means the number without a decimal number, okay? For example, 12.3, when you round it to the nearest whole number, it means we don't need the decimal numbers. So I need the whole number only. And then I look at the decimal number. If it's 5 or more, I'm going to add 1 to the one in front of it. If it's less than 5, I just remove it. So the answer will be 12. The answer will be 12. Okay? Yes. Now, this one, 8.7, same idea, because this is 7, 7 is big, it will add 1 to the 8. It means the answer will be 8, and this is how, 9, I'm sorry. Okay. And then here, we have 9.25. 9 is the whole number. 0.2 is the decimal number. The 2 is small. It means I will remove 2 and the 5, and the answer will be 9. Okay, same idea with all of them. So this is how you round to the nearest whole number. Here, what is the value of the 3 in each of these numbers? The value of the 3 here is in the units. Here it's in the tens. Here it's in the hundreds. Now let's move on to the next questions. Place value, same idea. You have the hundreds, tens, and units. You have hundreds, tens, and units. Uh, These values, questions like these, write down the number which is. These are easy. Write down the numbers or number which is 10 more than 50,000. It means you add 50,000 and 10. So it's going to be 50,010. 2 million less than 30 million. So 30 million minus 2 million. Okay, minus 2 million. Okay. Same idea here. 1,000 more than 3 million. It means you add 3 million and 1,000. It's going to be 3 million and 1,000. Problem solving, a number smaller than 1 billion, but larger than 999 million. What is the smallest whole number it could be? So smaller than a billion and larger than 999 million. So it can be 999 million and one, for example. What's the smallest whole number it could be? Yes, and 1. So that's the smallest. And what's the largest whole number it could be? It can be 9999. Okay? So 999 million and 900,000 largest whole number it could be 900,000, all nines, 900,000, 99, 999,999. So this is the largest it can be. And the smallest it can be, it's 999, all zeros and 1. Okay? Now, let's move on. Rounding to one decimal places. Let's take a question. Round each number to one decimal place. This is almost answered. Let's take one of them. It's okay. Or let's use this. Round to one decimal place. Okay. One decimal place. One decimal place means they need one decimal number in the answer. It means when you put a box, take the whole number and one decimal number like this. So one decimal place, it means the first decimal place like this. Okay. Now, what do? We look at the number after the decimal place, which is the 3. Now, the 3 here, sorry, yes, enable this. The 3 here is smaller than 5. It means we can remove it without adding any number. So the answer will be 15.6. 15.6. Now let's move on to the next one. Same idea, one decimal place. Let's take one of these. So let's take something big so we can, yes, here. One decimal place, same idea. I put a box on the whole number and the decimal place. And then I look at the number outside the box, which is this one. The 5 is big, it means it's going to add 1 here. So I'm going to add 1 to the 1, and the final answer would be 9.2. And this is how you round to one decimal place. So focus on the questions and steps of rounding to one decimal place. Now let's move on to the next question. Here, rounding, working out, working out. Um, Around the number in millions to one decimal place, same idea. Okay. I don't know if you took these, but let me answer some of these. Work out these. As we said, you're not supposed to use calculator, so you have to focus on this, okay? This is the square root of 50, square root of 50. Now, the square root of 50 is almost the same as the square root of 49. So here, so square root of 49 here, like this. You know that the square root of 50 is bigger than the square root of 49. And this one is what? Square root of 49, it's 7 equals 7 because 7 times 7 equals 49. This means that square root of 50 is bigger than 7, for example, by zero point 0.1, or you can do it like this, 7.1. And this idea is used to get an estimate of the answer because square root of 50, you can say it's bigger than 7, like this, or 7.01, like this, or 0.07, okay? Okay. Now, I don't know if you took this, but I'm going to explain it to you that way, okay? Let's see. But here, these questions are supposed to be used with the calculator. How to get, yeah, you're supposed to use calculators here, but in your exam, you're not supposed to do them. That's why I don't think they're going to bring something like this, okay? As I said, this is a calculator question. I don't think they're going to bring something like this. But as I said, this is bigger than square root of 49. And square root of 49 is 7. So you can say it's square root of 50 is 7.1, for example. Okay. Here, same idea, no calculating, but this is a calculator question. Let's see. This is the cube root. Cube root means what? It means three numbers when you multiply them by each other, you get 75. This is the meaning of cube root. Okay, cube root. So cube root of 75. The three numbers that you multiply by each other, you get 75. This question needs a calculator. So I don't think it's coming in the exam for you guys. So let's not do it, okay? That's the idea of this lesson. Rounding to one decimal place, rounding to a whole number, and understanding rounding and places, okay? Place value. Now let's move on to the next lesson, 6.2 here. In 6.2, we're going to talk about ordering decimals, putting them in order. Let's see. First, we need to understand how to order negative numbers first, from the smallest to the largest. Now, if it's a negative number, the bigger the number, the smaller the value. So negative 3 is smaller than negative 2 because it's going to be far away from the 0. So to order them, we say that the first one is the highest negative number, so that's the first one or the smallest. And then this is the second smallest. And then we have the 0 comes after them. And then the 5 and the 7. Okay, sorry, should be a 5. Same idea here. The highest negative number is the smallest number. So this one will be the first number, okay? And then after it, we have negative 3, and then negative 2 here. And then we have the 0, and the 2. Now let's move on. Write bigger than or smaller than between these two numbers. Now, depending on the numbers that you have here, -4 and 2, which one is bigger? It's the 2. Very good. So the bigger side or the opening of the sign will be on the bigger number. So this sign should be like this. So 2 is bigger than -4. Okay. Same idea here. Which one is bigger? The 5 is bigger. So the sign will be like this. So this is the smaller side. This is the bigger side. Bigger than, so the 5 is bigger. Okay. Same idea here. Which one is bigger? The bigger one is the -7 because it's the smaller negative number. So the sign should face bigger number like this. Now let's move on to the next question. As we said, if you have any problems or any questions, we will have time for questions. Just make sure that you write the number of the page and the question. Okay. When we talk about decimals, let's put them in order here. Ascending means what? It means start with the smallest. Start with the smallest. So let's see. Let's answer D, for example, because it has negative numbers. Now, if they are normal decimals or positive decimals, the smaller one will be the smaller decimal. But if they are negative, it's the opposite. The smaller decimal will be the bigger decimal. So first, let's cover these so we can work here. So here, let's write numbers. The smaller decimal will be the bigger number or the bigger negative number, the biggest negative number. So here we have 4. Look at the first numbers, all zeros. Go to the next ones, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. And then go to the next ones, 3, 9. Now, put them in order. Focus on this. Follow this step. First thing, you put them on each other. So -4.43, -0.1, and then -0.491, and then -0.45, and then -0.405, and then -0.49. That's the first step. Now fill the gaps. Fill the gaps with zeros. It means these are 3 numbers. These are 2. So fill the missing numbers with zeros. This one, 0. This one, 0. This one, 0. This idea is used to put decimals in orders, and it's easier to use, okay? Now, after doing this, take a look at the decimals. As we said, the first number is 0. We don't need it because it's the same. Second number is all 4, so we don't need it anymore. Now we look at the third number. Now we can read the numbers like this, 30, 91, 50, 5, 90. Now, the idea of negative numbers is what? The highest negative number is the smallest number or has the smallest value. So this means what? This means that the highest one, which is 91, is the smallest one. So this one is number 1. Okay. And then after 91, we have 90, negative 90 like this. And then after 90, we have 50, which is number 3. And then we have 30, that's the fourth number. And then we have 05, which is the biggest number between them. And this is how you order these numbers, okay? 405, yes. I did 405, yes. 450. This is 450. Yeah, I put 4, 5 and then 0 after it, okay? So focus on the steps I did. I filled the gaps with zeros so they have same amount of numbers. Same amount of numbers, okay? Now, this is the idea of 450. Yes. Now, let's move on, okay? Right, let's move on. So, next, we have what? We have, after ordering decimals, let's move on to the next question. Same idea, but descending. Descending means what? Descending means start with the smallest. Descending means start with the highest and go down. Ascending means start with the smallest Descending means start with the highest and go down. Same idea. You understand the idea of arranging or reordering decimals. If they are negative and you want descending, so the highest will be smallest one. If they are positive, the highest will be the biggest one. Okay. Now let's move on. Same idea. All questions are about putting them in order. All of these questions are the same. Bigger than and smaller than. Same idea. Put a sign between them. So let's take a look. 2.6 and 2.9, which one is bigger? It's the 2.9. It means the sign will look like this because 2.9 is bigger. Okay. Here, 3.6 and 3.5. The bigger one is 3.6, so the sign should be like this. And here we have negative 2.1 and negative 2.4. So which one is bigger? Very good. The smaller number, the smaller negative number is the bigger number. So it will be like this because it's the closer to zero or the closest to zero. Here, 9.09, 9.08. Which one is bigger? Very good, 9.08 because it's the smaller number. So it has the bigger value. And this is how you answer a question like this. Now let's move on to the next question. The next lesson is about adding and subtracting decimals. Adding and subtracting decimals. So let's take a look at some of the questions in adding and subtracting decimals. First, let's take a look at this one. These are addition and subtraction, normal addition subtraction. We don't have to need it. We don't have to do it. Let's talk about these. 0.4 plus what equals 1. Now, here, you can solve it using algebraic steps or algebraic methods. For example, here, 0.4 plus what equals 1. I can take the 0.4 to the other side because it's added. I'm going to take it by subtracting here. So it's going to be 1 minus 0.4. And the answer will be, very good, 0.6. So the ones in the gap here should be 0.6. Same idea here. I can take this by subtraction. So it's going to be 1 minus 0.3. 1 minus 0.3 is going to be 0.7. So the answer here should be 0.7. Same idea with all of these questions. Just take the ones you have here and the other side to the other side, subtract it, and then find the answer. Let's move on to the next one. Work out these. 3 minus 0.2. So subtracting decimals, as we said, you don't have a calculator. It means you have to focus when you use these questions, okay? Now, to subtract, you can put them on top of each other. For example, 3 minus 0.2, okay? Now, 3 minus 0.2. Now, I have to put a decimal point here, so point, and then on top of the 2, I'll put a 0. Now, I'm going to subtract them, focus on the steps of subtraction. Let me show you how. As I said, because that's a whole number, and these are the first decimal place. Now I'm gonna subtract. 0 minus 2, it can't work. Let me use this. 0 minus 2, it can't work, so I'm gonna take 1 from the 3, like this, and it will become 2. And then because I took 1 from the 3 and gave it to the 0 becomes 10. The 0 becomes 10. Now, 10 minus 2 will be, very good, 8. And then the decimal place will go down like this. And then 2 minus 0 is going to be 2, like this. So the answer is 2.8. And this is how you subtract decimal or decimal numbers. Same idea with all of them. Make sure that you put the units on top of each other. For example, with this one, 100 minus 8.59, it's going to be like this. You put the 100, and then under the unit, you put the 8, like this. Okay? And then 0.59. Okay? And then on top, as you can see here, you put the point and then 0, 0. Now you're going to work with solving this question, okay? First thing you do, you're going to take from the 1, like this. Focus on these steps. You take from the 1, it's going to be a 0. This will become a 10. And then you take from it, it's going to be a 9. And you give this as a 10. You take from it, it's going to be a 9. This will become a 10. You take from it, it's going to be a 9. This will become a 10. Now you start subtracting. I hope you understood the idea of taking from numbers so you can change them, so you can use them in subtraction. So 10 minus 9 is going to be 1. And then 9 minus 5 is going to be 4. Okay, sorry about the arrangement. 9 minus 8, don't forget the decimal point. And then 9 minus 8 is going to be 1. Sorry. And then 9 goes down like this. So the final answer will be 91.41. 91.41. Okay. Now, um, that's the final answer for subtracting uh, question D. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question. Okay. Focus when you subtract decimals. Workouts. Addition is easy. You can put them on top of each other and work them out. For example, here we have, let's do the last one with G. So 2.044, and then we have 9.92, and then we have 0.097. Okay, and fill the gaps with zeros like this, and then you can add them the same way that we did subtraction. Addition is easy. Put them on top of each other and then add them. So 4 plus 7 is going to be 11. So 1, and we have 1 here on top. 1 plus 4 is going to be 5. 5 plus 2 is going to be 7. And then plus 9 is going to be 16. So 6, sorry, and 1. Okay. Same idea. 1 plus 0 is 1. Plus 9 is 10. And this is 0. So 0 and 1 on top, like this. Now the decimal point in its place. And then 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 9 is 12. So the final answer is like this, 12.061. And this is how you add decimals and decimal numbers. Now, these are direct questions. They will give you numbers and you add them. Sometimes they will give you questions like these. Check if this calculation is right or not. You just have to add it or subtract to get the idea. Work out these, use an estimate to check your answer. Now, working out, you can subtract them, and then estimate means estimate. Estimate means round this and round this. When you round this, this one will become 5, and this one will become 2. So 5 minus 2 will be 3. So you write 5 minus 2 equals 3. 2 equals 3. So the answer should be around 3. Now you take it and subtract them same way that we did before. So we put them on top of each other. 496 minus 2.13. Okay. Now when you subtract them, 6 minus 3 is going to be 3. 9 minus 1 is 8. Okay. And the point, decimal point. And then 4 minus 2 is going to be 2. So the final answer is 2.83. But here what we did, we estimated, or we estimated the answer by rounding all of them. This one becomes 5, and this one becomes 2. So the answer should be around 3. That's the whole idea of estimating. And this is how you answer a question like this. Now let's move on to the next question here. Um, Same idea of subtraction that we talked about and how to do subtraction. If you have problems like these, the questions, sorry. If you have problems like these, you can solve them step by step. You can work out these first, and then take the answer and add it with this one. Same idea, you can add these first, and then take the answer and subtract it from this one. So same idea, you can do these steps with the same idea, okay? Let's see. Yes, I think we covered this lesson. Yes, 6.3. And that's the idea of adding and subtracting decimals. Now, give me a second. Okay, 6.4, multiplying decimals. Multiplying decimals, let's take a look at the questions here that has decimals to multiply by. We'll look at these. Let's talk about this. Okay? So here, when we multiply decimals by numbers, so let's say 6 by 0.7, we're going to do one of questions here. So 6 times 0.7, okay, like this. Now, this 6 is 6.0, but it's okay. You don't have to write it because the whole answer will be zeros. So when you multiply it, you can multiply it like this or multiply it with a 6.0. Same idea, same answer, okay? Let's do it that way. I like to fill the gaps with lines. It makes things easier. Now, when you multiply 7 here, let's remove this. Yes. So 7 times 0 is going to be 0 here, and then decimal point. Okay. Focus on the steps of writing numbers on top of each other, okay? So we're gonna multiply 0.6, sorry, times I'm sorry, 6 times 0.7. Okay. Now let me do it that way. Let me do it the other way. Instead, we don't have to put the oh, sorry, we don't have to put the decimal. Okay. And let's put the 6 under. Okay. 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 So 0.7 times 6. Okay, times 6. Yeah. Now let's do the multiplying steps. So 6 times 7 will be what? It will be 42. So we have 2 here and the 4 here. And then 6 times 0 is going to be 0, plus 4 is going to be 4. Okay. Now we have 4 and 2. Now we need to know where is the place of the decimal point. How do you know the place of the decimal point? Basically, you take the whole numbers, so which is 0 and 6. You multiply them. 6 times 0 is what? Very good. 6 times 0 equals 0. 0 is one number. It means the decimal point should be after one number. So I come here and put the decimal point after one number. So the final answer is 4.2. Same idea with these. I'm going to multiply the last one. So 6 times 0.07. So 0.07 times 6, like this. Okay. Same steps. I'm going to multiply and then find the place of the decimal point and then use it. Okay. So let's put this here. So first we have 6 times 7, as we said, which is 42. 42. So I'm going to write the 2 here. I'm going to write the 2 and the 40 here. Now 6 times 0, 6 times 0 is going to be 0, plus 4 is going to be 4. So I write the 4 here. And the last one, 6 times 0 is going to be 0. I write 0. Now the place of the decimal point, like we said, to find it, we multiply the whole numbers, sorry. So the whole numbers we have 0 and 6. When you multiply them, you get 0. 0 is one number. It means the decimal point should be after one number, which is here. And this is how you find the answer of these questions. Now let's move on to the next question. So multiplying decimals is done. Same idea with all of them here. All of them have the same ideas. Multiplying decimals is easy. Now let's come to dividing numbers, like 42 divide 10. 42 divide 10. Now, when you divide or multiply by a 10 or 100, you can use the decimal or move the decimal point. For example, 42, when you divide it by 10, divided by 10, it means you're going to move the decimal point one way from here to here. So the answer is 4.2. 4.2, like this. Same idea when you divide by 100, you move it two times. When you multiply by zero point 0.1 is the same as dividing by 10. Focus on this. So 4.2, when you multiply by zero point 0.1, is the same as 4.2 divide 10. Same idea. Same idea here. 370, when you multiply by zero point 0.1, it's the same as dividing by 10. Okay? You'll notice that they are the same. Now, let's move on. Copy and complete. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times zero point 0.1. It's like 8 divide 10. It will be what? Very good. It's going to be 0 0.8. 0 0.8. And this one is 8 divide 100. It will be 0 0.08. Okay. Now, same steps. Yes, 8 times zero point 0.1 is the same as 8 divide 10. 8 times 0.01 is the same as 8 divide 100. These questions have the same ideas, okay? Now let's move on to the next question. I just want to make sure that we cover everything. Multiplying decimals, we talked about it. We talked about this, same idea, same questions. Same questions here. Um, Reasoning. Same questions, multiplying decimals, and that's it for this lesson. I will put the rest of the questions or the rest of the lessons in the other video. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.